सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. We are studying Swamiji's Karma Yoga, 7th chapter. This is the 20th class. So, in this chapter, in one of the earlier class, we saw Swamiji gave a gist of Karma Yoga and also in a brief compass gave the tenor of human life across so many lives, how human being from a very ordinary stage of evolution progresses through various experiences and reaches and grows in intelligence, knowledge and virtues, power of judgment, and reaches higher and higher and progresses towards spiritual goal or perfection or knowledge or mukti, etc. Okay? So I just read out that thing and it is a good revision. So chapter 7, freedom. What is Karma Yoga? The knowledge of the secret of work. We see that the whole universe is working for what? For salvation, for liberty. From the atom to the highest being, working for the one end, liberty for the mind, for the body, for the spirit. All things are always trying to get freedom, flying away from bondage. The sun, the moon, the earth, the planets, all are trying to fly away from bondage. So, we see Karma Yoga is put in a brief sentence. Karma Yoga is the knowledge of the secret of work. How do we perform work? What attitude? So, Swamiji says, whole universe is working for salvation and for freedom. From the atom to the highest being, that is human being, all are tending or struggling towards this one goal, that is freedom. Freedom from all bondages. Usually human beings are living beings, we can understand. What does it mean? They are struggling for freedom. But what does it mean when non-living beings like mountain, stone or earth struggling or tending towards freedom? Living beings, we know they have an age. At the end of their age, they die and the body disintegrates. But what does it mean? The inorganic, the stone, the non-living beings, the death of them, basically in a very long duration, they disintegrate. In the earlier class, we have seen that all combined objects, even the stone, the rock or any non-living being, it is held together by some forces. It may be chemical or molecular, anything. When that force is withdrawn, the molecule or the object disintegrates and it goes back to the state of the ingredients, whatever it is made of, and in turn they also break further, and so it happens over a long time. So ultimately speaking, whole Srishti or the Jagat wants to go back to its original state of equilibrium, whatever that state is. Even the modern science speaks about this thing. Okay? So this is what Swamiji is talking about here, that all living as well as non-living beings have this tendency to get away from bondage and tend towards and to go towards freedom or salvation. So for living beings, we understand what it means, right? Freedom from all limitations, from all bondages. Okay? Now, continuing, instead of being knocked about in this universe and after long delay and thrashing, getting to know things as they are. We learn from Karma Yoga the secret of work, the method of work, the organizing power of work. Here, so this is the in a short compass, Swamiji lists the usual tenor of human life, not just in one life, across various janmas, various lives. That is, people go through various experiences. Instead of being knocked about in this universe and after long delay and thrashing, that is a reference to the various varied experiences human beings have, both pleasant and as well as non-pleasant, bitter experiences. And through all this, people learn the lessons of life, and get to understand how life moves, how the society behaves, how the society conducts, and then they adjust their thinking and their conduct as per the society, as per the the larger life, and that's how they progress higher and higher in knowledge, understanding, and vichara, their conduct as well, and so they overcome this strife with the external environment and progress higher and higher, and towards, of course, more peace, because they are otherwise they are in conflict with the larger life. So there will be problem at every stage and frustration. But as they learn the spirit of universal life, the rules, and they understand the spirit of judgment, justice, moral virtues, and then acquire them, make them a part of their life, not just in theory, in practice, become one with it. That's how they come closer to the universal life. That is truth. And so that's how they progress towards the moral virtues and further towards spiritual end, spiritual goal. That's what Swamiji gave in a few sentences. And as they are, and learn from Karma Yoga the secret of work, the various, like how do we take up work, what attitude, etc. The usual work. Though Swamiji used the term here Karma Yoga, in the, of course, the principles and the teachings of Karma Yoga are scattered in every society. We have in one form or the other these things. The basics of morality, all are there in every culture and every society. So they constitute the basic part, and later on, of course, the higher principles and teachings are learned from the religion, right? So, continuing, a vast mass of energy may be spent in vain if we do not know how to utilize it. Karma Yoga makes a science of work. You learn by it how best to utilize all the workings of this world. So, see, the same point here. You see, usually people work, and then they work with all, without the proper knowledge, like what to expect, what works will give them what benefit. So without much of this thing, people just go on with this, and then end up getting into all undertakings, all works, and then end will be not much, mere waste of energy. That's what he says. A vast mass of energy may be spent in vain, may be wasted if we do not know how to utilize it. Karma Yoga makes a science of work. You learn by it how best to utilize all the workings of this world. Work is inevitable. It must be so, but we should work to the highest purpose. That is, take up only those works, and that too in certain, with that attitude, that understanding, which will give us higher benefit. That is, what is that higher benefit? Takes us towards freedom, takes us towards the truth, towards the dharma or moral virtues. So any of these, if we can get, so that is the better way of employing our time and energy. That's how we progress, and thereby we gain more. Otherwise, it is a mere waste of energy. We may acquire something, passing things, and what is the use? Not much use. So this is the thing. So this is in a brief compass. This is what the summary or the gist of Karma Yoga and the general tenor of human life. I just wanted to revise this. We have already studied this. We continue the text, chapter 7. So, the idea of happiness and idea of happiness without misery or of life without death is very good for schoolboys and children. But the thinker sees that it is all a contradiction in terms and gives up both. Seek no praise or reward for anything you do. No sooner do we perform a good action than we begin to desire credit for it. No sooner do we give money to some charity than we want to see our names blazoned in the papers. Misery must come as a result of such desires. So, we have studied till here in the last class. We continue from here. The greatest men in the world have passed away unknown. The Buddhas and the Christs that we know are but second-rate heroes in comparison to the greatest men of whom the world knows nothing. Hundreds of these unknown heroes have lived in every country, working silently. Silently they live and silently they pass away. And in time their thoughts find expression in Buddhas or Christs, and it is these latter that become known to us. So here the two greatest sages are the types in among the mankind, which one section we know, one section we hardly know. Swamiji says we hardly know them. Many of them are almost unknown to the history and to the mankind. So these greatest type, the first type, they are very sattvikas. They live silently, collect the noble and higher truths, probably teach it to one or two disciples and then pass away, or probably not even that, they leave it to, and they are sure, we'll see, Swamiji says later on, that perhaps some of them will not even find a person to impart those teachings, but they are sure those ideas, original truths which they have received in their super sensuous state, they are sure to bring a good benefit to the mankind in the long run, and so they pass away silently. We'll see. So Swamiji gives some more. So in this context, we remember or we recall Sri Ramakrishna telling one of his disciples, most probably it is Keshav Chandra Sen, who wanted to publicize Sri Ramakrishna in his newspaper, in his magazine and all. Sri Ramakrishna told him, this is not the time. A time will come when hundreds of Himalayas will not be able to stop the ideas of this place. He uses his this place, but meaning his original ideas, the novel thoughts he has brought for the benefit of mankind in this age, the Yoga Dharma, that will find expression and will have its effect on the mankind in course of time, and that is not the time. So we have this on record. Okay? So we have many of these many examples for this phenomenon, where the very pure, very sattvika people, they collect, through their lifelong tapasya, austerity and striving, they conceive of these thoughts which are the ideas, are the power which is of immense good to the mankind, but they hardly have that rajas or the energy to go and then preach. Probably they won't have the time at all. So a few examples we quote here. One I gave, Sri Ramakrishna himself, and then the Swamiji who Sri Ramakrishna actually transmitted his power and then told him to go and then preach. We have this on record. Okay? The classical example which is more recent. In turn, Sri Ramakrishna himself met many Paramahamsas. Sri Ramakrishna himself says, whom there is not even name mentioned. Swami Sri Ramakrishna says many Paramahamsas came, many great bhaktas came and met him when he was passing through a particular religious discipline. So people of highest types of that kind, they came and then they used to discuss, even stay for days and months together at Dakshineshwar, where Sri Ramakrishna himself he was staying, and then had the benefit, and possibly some of them, many of them taught Sri Ramakrishna or shared their experiences, and then they disappeared. Only one or two are on record. One is the two gurus or three gurus Sri Ramakrishna interacted and then learned from. Right? So, in turn, Sri Ramakrishna and then Swamiji is another example. In the south, there is one sage in the Andhra, probably some 300 years ago, Vemana name, Andhra. His guru was one sadhaka. He lived in a cave almost all the time. only one disciple is known, one queen actually, and the brother-in-law of the queen is this sage called Vemana. He is very popular. He has many writings. So the sage lived in the cave. Almost his name also is unknown to the world. Probably there's some known, some popular name is there. So towards the end of his life, the sage's life, he was expecting by the command of God, the disciple to come, whom he will impart his power and learnings, and he leaves the body. He is waiting. So through the intervention of providential intervention, that queen sent her brother-in-law, who was a young prince. He was just happily, merrily, he was going out and then happily spending his time. He was not the king, but he was just a prince. And then the, the queen sent him to go to that guru and then learn the teachings of the sage. So he came, the guru imparts his power and then gives the instruction, and within a few days he leaves the body. And from that time onwards, this Vemana, the sage, gives up his usual worldly life and then lives somewhere in the caves and then devotes some time to the practice of sadhana, etc., and then goes on preaching and preaching. A lot of writings he has given, starting from ordinary moral to the highest Vedantic teachings, and he is quite popular in the south part of Andhra. This is another. We have number of these in the Upanishads that itself. We have in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajnavalkya, number of times he says, this is how we have heard from the rishis. This is how we have heard from the rishis. Name is not known. But certainly much of the Upanishad Vidya or the knowledge which he talks about, part of it at least he has received from the earlier, of whom we have known, not even the name is known. Similarly, in the Isha Upanishad, we have the rishis singing similarly. Iti Shushruma Dhiranam, like that. This is how we have heard from the wise ones. Multiple times the rishi uses this phrase, we have heard from the wise ones. So, Swami Vivekananda mentions this thing when he was speaking about the Upanishad sages in his lecture on sages of India. This phenomenon Swamiji mentions that many have lived and gone without probably their name also is not known, but they have left their teachings, and even now those teachings are valid and then inspire the mankind. So this phenomenon is one of the most significant one in the spiritual history in India, probably elsewhere as well. So continuing, this silently they live and silently they pass away, and in time their thoughts find expression in Buddhas or Christ. That means the people who can preach that to the mankind and then teach them and establish systems which can perpetuate them. And it is these latter ones that become known to us. The highest men do not seek to get any name or fame from their knowledge. They leave their ideas to the world. They put forth no claims for themselves and establish no schools or systems in their name. Their whole nature shrinks from such a thing. They are the pure sattvikas who can never make any stir, but only melt down in love. Too close to be, elsewhere Swamiji uses the word in relation to these highest type, that they are too close to the Lord to make any stir. Here also Swamiji used that. So the latter type, who are the prophets, the acharyas, they are the people, later Swamiji says, they have in them a little bit of rajas, or Swamiji uses the word ignorance, but that doesn't mean that is only in comparison Swamiji uses the word. They have that, the preaching this thing, and of course it is their mission also. They come for that and then they go about preaching and then teaching. So I have seen one such yogi who lives in a cave in India. He is one of the most wonderful men I have ever seen. He has so completely lost his sense of his own individuality that we may say that the man in him is completely gone, leaving behind only the all-comprehending sense of the divine. If an animal bites one of his arms, he is ready to give it his other arm also. and say that it is the Lord's will. Everything that comes to him is from the Lord. He doesn't show himself to men, and yet he is a magazine of love and of true and sweet ideas. Here the reference is to Pavahari Baba of Gazipur, whom Swamiji met for a long time, more than a month. Swamiji was stayed with him, interacted with him, and Swamiji elsewhere says, shares one of the learning which he got from, one of the best learning he has got in his lifetime. Okay? So, you see, they are so much, they have, so much sattvika they are, that they see that every movement, is the Lord, is of the Lord. Say they see, even when in the Pavahari Baba case, once the dog came and took away his only chapati or bread, and he ran and then gave something else also. They say to give some butter or something else to the tea, and then say, "Oh Lord, how do you eat the dry one?" etc. They see it is the Lord Himself. Though we see the physical, the physical animal body only, but these people, they see the indwelling spirit, the Antaryami, the Lord in the thing, and then they address to it. So they are that much pure and that much holy. Similarly, another incident is there. Swamiji himself, when he was walking in the Rishikesh, there was one old holy man. He was just laughing and then walking down a street, and a group of young children, they were pelting stones at him and then laughing. And the blood is oozing from the body everywhere, even from the face. And the holy man is simply laughing. And Swamiji saw it and then drove away those children, and then took the holy man, seated somewhere, and then dressed him, and then asked him, "Why you are laughing when the children are troubling you like that? You could have simply showed anger and then chased them away." He said, "I was having such a fun with the Lord." He saw not the children, the Lord Himself in the children. So he was having fun. You see, so they so much bereft of this worldly idea, what usually people will have, right? Any person, we have number of examples. Here I am just quoting those on record, which probably we are aware, which Swamiji himself has come across. Number of many more people Swamiji has come across. These two I quote here. See, okay? So they see it is the Lord Himself. When they see it is the Lord Himself, in what sense do they? Next, one more point comes. When they see it is Lord behind every action, every movement in the universe, then how can they make any stir to do good or so-called preaching anything? They only melt down. Lord, let your will be done. This statement comes in the next, in the very next para. Swamiji takes up this. So that is their condition. Sri Ramakrishna himself, at one point, he was remarking, "I am so bereft of energy to go about and preach," but Chaitanya Deva and others, they went around and then met so many people and then preaching and then helping the mankind. So he was actually lamenting like that. But so as it is, we know so what the truth is. So he was so much sattvika that he could hardly even move about in the temple garden itself where he was, most of the time being in ecstasy. Okay. So now continuing. Next in order come the men with more rajas or activity, combative natures, who take up the ideas of the perfect ones and preach them to the world. The highest kind of men silently collect true and noble ideas, and others, the Buddhas and the Christs, go from place to place, preaching them and working for them. So, though Swamiji takes the names Buddha and Christ in the second category, they perhaps because their work is so immense, so Swamiji has used it. But otherwise also they have the contribution of the first type as well. Okay. So, in the life of Gautama Buddha, we notice him constantly saying that he is the 25th Buddha. The 24 before him are unknown to history, although the Buddha known to history must have built upon the foundations laid by them. So, Swamiji gives why he is taking the name of Buddha as a prophet in the list of the prophets, those who take the teachings of the great ones and then preach. Of course, he had his own original things to contribute as well, but the important thing to note here is these great ones, the immense spiritual power they bring to the mankind, which goes on working and uplifting the mankind and inspiring the people towards morality and religious progress. Okay. So we have in this Swamiji has used two great examples of the in the history. We have more people. We have in the history in Indian Hindu tradition itself. We have Shankaracharya, Patanjali, Vyasa, and in the Buddhism, Nagarjuna. They themselves say that they are actually preaching. Patanjali says he is actually collecting the yoga teachings which are already scattered and then systematically putting. Of course, he was a great yogi, greatest yogi himself, but he takes them. We have the yoga, some of the yoga teachings in the Gita, which as we know is predates the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra work. Okay? So we have the even better example. Vyasadeva was collecting the scattered Vedic teachings and then arranging them, and also the Puranas, etc. And then we have Shankaracharya, who was reinstating the Vedic religion and then the teachings of the great Vedantic teachers, so etc. Okay. So continuing, the highest men are calm, silent and unknown. They are the men who really know the power of thought. They are sure that even if they go into a cave and close the door and simply think 5 true thoughts, and then pass away, these 5 thoughts of theirs will live through eternity. I just mentioned that Sri Ramakrishna telling, this is one of the example that Sri Ramakrishna said, that being, those thoughts being so novel and so true, their effect is invincible. They will have their effect being of divine origin and of divine mission. They will have their effect even if there is opposition. So Sri Ramakrishna said, these thoughts will find their expression even if, and the hundreds of Himalayas will not be able to stop them. That is just a way of saying that no obstacle can stop it. So we have on the record Sri Ramakrishna saying these things. Similarly, we have many of the great teachers saying similar things to the effect of to this effect. So here Swamiji says true thoughts, meaning these are like depending on the climb and the time, those thoughts, the Yuga Dharma, what we say recently, so that which is beneficial to the age, to the people. So the reference is to that. Of course, true thoughts, of course, is true, but it means the thoughts are the teachings which are suitable and relevant to the time and then the people. Indeed, such thoughts will penetrate through the mountains, cross the oceans and travel through the world. They will enter deep into human hearts and brains and raise up men and women who will give them practical expression in the workings of human life. So some of these thoughts, of course, are imparted to their own teachings, the great ones, impart to their own disciples. In some cases, it is because since these thoughts are in the spiritual world, they find expression in the other sadhakas or higher, other rishis or the sages who have raised to that level, and then they find expression in their thoughts, inspire them, and they actually in turn preach that to mankind and thus bring the benefit of those great thoughts to mankind, right? These Sattvika men are too near the Lord to be active and to fight, to be working, struggling, preaching and doing good, as they say, here on earth to humanity. The active workers, however good, have still a little remnant of ignorance left in them. When our nature has had some impurities left in it, then alone can we work. So here, this is the point I was just referring to, the Sattvika people. So Sattvika, almost egoism is not there. Swamiji mentioned they are one with the Lord almost, because there is no human nature or no trace of egoism, selfishness, any of the human defect left in them. None of that. So they are so close and so pure. And we have the other kind. Swamiji says a remnant of ignorance is left in them. This is in comparison only. In relation only, it is a relative term, other not to be taken as they have impurity in it. So that is only in relation it is said. For example, Sri Ramakrishna himself said, Shankaracharya took the help of the Vidya Maya so that he can preach and then teach, right? So Vidya Maya is still a Maya, right? Though it is a of higher type, divine type, of liberating type, but still it is a Maya, right? Else another example that may be quoted here is, Sri Ramakrishna prayed to Kali the mother so that to put some Maya in Swamiji so that he will not leave his body and then go. He has work to do, right? So this is another example which may be quoted in here, that Sri Ramakrishna was praying to the Divine Mother to put some Maya in Naren so that he remains here to do the divine work, right? So we have these number of such examples. Two here I have quoted, right? Continuing, in the presence of an ever-active providence who notes even the sparrow's fall, how can man attach any importance to his own work? Will it not be a blasphemy to do so when we know that he is taking care of the minutest things in the world? We have only to stand in awe and reverence before him, saying, your will be done. So, this point I was just referring to earlier. In the presence of an ever-active providence, ever-active God. So at the highest stage, every movement, every action is performed by the Lord, or it is impelled by the will of the Lord. In the Gita we have Prakrite Kriyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvashaha Ahankara Vimuda Atma Kartahamiti Manyate. Prakriti does all the works, but the people who are deluded by their own egoism think that they do the work. So similarly, one more sentence comes, one more shloka comes in the Gita to the same meaning. In the Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita also, Sri Ramakrishna many times he says God alone is the doer and we are the instruments. But because of egoism, we do not feel it, we think we do. We do all action. This number of times Sri Ramakrishna teaches this thing. And so here, further down, so another statement Swamiji uses, which perhaps is the reflection of Prahalada's statement. That is, when father was about to kill him, he says that without the Lord's will, the blade of grass can move. So, Swamiji notes here even the sparrow's fall, who notes even in the presence of an ever-active providence, who notes even the sparrow's fall. Sparrow is a small bird, and if it is falling, that is the expression used, meaning even the minutest movement is noted, or it is actually impelled by the Lord. So, Sri Ramakrishna also says, at one place, somebody questioned Swamiji at Sri Ramakrishna whether God listens to our prayer. Sri Ramakrishna became agitated and said, what do you say? You pray to the Lord and he doesn't listen? He notes even the ants, one pipilika, ants footfall. So Ramakrishna goes even further. Here Swamiji says the sparrows fall. But Sri Ramakrishna goes even one step ahead. In the Prahalada's prayer he says, oh, even the blade of grass cannot move if it is not impelled by the will of God. So the implication is that every movement, as the Gita Shloka said, every movement is impelled by the divine power or divine, so whichever we can say. Attach importance like this, will it not be blasphemy? This is the conclusion. So this is the implication Swamiji is drawing us to. Okay? The highest men cannot work, for in them there is no attachment. Those whose whole soul is gone into the self, those whose desires are confined in the self, who have become ever associated with the self, for them there is no work. Such are indeed the highest of mankind, but apart from them, everyone else has to work. So apart from the highest men, in whom all the human tendency, selfish desires, any desire actually, ego completely pure, and they are so close to the Lord, Satvikas. For them, there is no work. Meaning, in the ordinary sense of the thing, this the Swamiji quotes here two shlokas of the Gita. Whose soul is gone into the self, those whose desires are confined in the self, who have become ever associated with the self. This is a reflection of the Gita sloka. Yastvatma ratireva syat atma truptascha manavaha atma nevasa santushta tasya karyam na vidyate. Those who are have realized the Lord or Atman, whichever we say, and their whole delight, happiness is derived from the Lord. In such case, there is no work in the usual sense. They may be doing good to the mankind, to the society in one way or the other, but that is the divine will working. It is not the human will. It is not the his own or the person's own individual action or the intention. Right? Such indeed are the highest of mankind, and apart from such people, everyone has to work. Work for what? Work for the Purusharthas. And better it is directed towards the higher Purusharthas. Right? In so working, we should never think that we can even the best, even the least thing in the universe. We cannot. We only help ourselves in this gymnasium of the world. This is the proper attitude of work. If we work in this way, if we always remember that our present opportunity to work thus is a privilege which has been given to us, we shall never be attached to anything. So, two more important points Swamiji is bringing up here. In so working, we should never think that we can help anyone, even the least. This idea Swamiji has explained in detail in an earlier chapter, that we help ourselves, not the world. There is an entire chapter dedicated to this idea. So through all these works, we only perfect ourselves. Perfect ourselves meaning we learn, we work and then gain experience and learn the lessons of life. And through all these good and then bad, bitter and pleasant, sweet and bitter experiences, we learn the lessons of life, grow in our moral nature, moral virtues, and further into the spiritual path. So this is thus the gymnasium where we come to learn and then become perfect, become strong in the virtues. So Swami uses the word gymnasium. This expression Swami used elsewhere also, at least two times, that this is the best definition or the attitude towards the world. It is neither good nor bad. It is what it is. Its purpose of the world is this, that it will give us moral exercise. This is what it is. So this is the attitude we should have. Some people think that we are here to enjoy. So Swamiji gave all these things. There are some traditions they conceive, how they look at the world. They believe only in one birth. At the end of it, they go and then live elsewhere and then never to be born, and then something, right? And so when that is the case, and so this is the one life, they have to, live all the whatever desires they have to go through. So they are in a hurry, so many things. It means so many things, right? Now, so Swamiji has explained these things. Swamiji takes up these and then sees. Now, in all of them, there are limitations. So in the Hindu thought, so this is the thing, and the world is a gymnasium, and this is the right attitude and the better and the best definition of the world, right? So this is the proper attitude of work. What is that attitude? That we are here to become strong in virtues and then grow in knowledge, progress towards freedom. And with that attitude, with that understanding, we have to work. Of course, the people at the lower stages, they cannot appreciate these teachings, but they grow from the lower ideas, and they have to grow gradually towards higher and higher ideas. First, the sense of justice has to come. I have mentioned this point. Until that, this crossing, the sense of justice has to come. When that comes, the discrimination has awakened. We say Viveka Shakti or the Dharma. That is the starting point. with that starts the true moral life of a person. Dharmika, we use in the Hindu terminology, dharmikas, are the good people, noble people. So when that sense of justice is awakened in a person, from then on starts. Until then, it is all selfishness. Even if let the other man go to death, let the other man be spoiled or damaged, other man or other human being, anything it could be. But the person wants his own end. But now with this sense of justice awakened, they think a little bit, at least have some importance attached to the other person, other living being, right? So with that starts the virtuous living. The person grows in virtues, other virtues are there, and then further on the virtues of compassion, daya, sympathy, they come, and then they further progress, and then faster they progress, right? So this is the proper attitude of work. If we work in this way, if we always remember that our present opportunity to work thus is a privilege which has been given to us, we shall never be attached to anything. Here another important idea is there. In our present, the work which has been given is a privilege to us. Usually this is rarely seen across. Many, at least those who are spiritually serious people, those who are occupying positions of important positions in society, they may actually earn it through their exertion and then their struggle, etc. But they should see it is an opportunity given, a privilege which has been given to them so that they can serve. Elsewhere in one of the earlier chapters, Swamiji referred to this point, that they will, as they grow on and then grow, they will, first discharge the duties at hand. When those duties are properly discharged, then higher positions, higher works will be given to you. Swamiji uses this thing, these words, right? So it is a privilege. When we have, it is a privilege given, and when we know this, understand this, then the person will be humble. Otherwise, he will be full of pride and then carried on by etc. And then the other vices will be there, and the work will be defective, right? When this understanding is there, the person will be humble, right? And he is more, perhaps he will discharge the duties in the proper spirit and in better way, right? Continuing, millions like you and me think that we are great people in the world, but we all die, and in 5 minutes the world forgets us. But the life of God is infinite. So many times people, after having discharged even the works which are of beneficial, big works, good works, let's say somebody founding a hospital or opening a school, running it for some time, etc. And then somewhere the pride comes that I have done this very thing, and then unfortunately sometimes they tend to think also that without me, what will happen, how it will go, etc. So this is usually seen, these things. But Swamiji is now drawing to this tendency in so-called these people who do good, that when they are gone, after a short while people will forget it. But the God is infinite. And the implication is here is that the work or the good, the so-called good, is coming from it is impelled by the Lord. So let us not be so conceited as to think that without us the work will not go on, or without us what would become to the society. So this is the implication. Continuing, who can live a moment, breathe a moment, if this all-powerful one doesn't will it? He is the ever-active providence. All power is his, and within his command. Through his command the wind blows, the sun shines, the earth lives, the death stalks upon the earth. So again, same idea, that it is the all-powerful God who is by whose will all the whatever the movement, whatever the action, whatever the good systems, good works which are being carried on in the society are coming from. And further, here Swamiji is quoting from the Upanishad, this First one, who can live a moment, breathe a moment, if this all-powerful one doesn't will it? And the next one is from the Taittiriya. Bishasmat vata pavate bishodveti suryaha, etc. It goes. That is, through his command the wind blows, the sun shines, the earth lives, and the death stalks upon the earth. So even these, the meaning is even the cosmic things which are going on, the sun, the planets which rotate around the sun, the stars, and other extraterrestrial or the natural things which are going on, the wind blowing, the Agni which is able to burn, the death and the life, this cycle, everything, these cosmic events which are going on, and the cosmic activity, the governance which is going, all the macrocosmic activities, all are governed by the Lord, by the higher by the all-powerful God. Because of him, everything is going on, right? So the Upanishad uses this thing, because of him, for fear of him. Elsewhere it uses even the word for fear of him. In the Taittiriya is using actually the word for fear of the God. For Brahman it is short, but the Saguna Brahman, which is Ishvara or God, for the fear of God, the wind blows, the Agni burns, the sun rises. Continuing, is the all in all, is all and in all. We can only worship him, give up all fruits of work, do good for its own sake. Then alone will come perfect non-attachment. The bonds of the heart will thus break, and we shall reap perfect freedom. This freedom is indeed the goal of Karma Yoga. Is the all in all, is all and in all. So he be referring to God himself. He is everything and in everything. It is whole Jagat comes from the Lord himself, and Lord is the Antaryami also in in all the living beings. So Lord is everything. As a Virat, he is the whole cosmos also, the Srishti, the Vyakta Jagat, and also the Antaryami within the living beings. So with this idea, because of this, so the better attitude is, or the better course of action for the spiritual seeker, spiritual sadhakas, is that offer all the words, the fruits of work to the Lord himself, don't be considered, and then that's how go on working, and then thus gradually progress, and then reach the goal for its own sake. Then alone will come perfect non-attachment, anasakti. The bonds of the heart will thus break, meaning bondages, and we shall reap perfect freedom. This indeed is the goal of Karma Yoga. Though the word used is freedom, it could mean those who are elsewhere. Swami used, talked about those who are devoted to God, when they actually perform action as a seva of the Lord, as a service of the Lord, they also reach anasakti, but they are, in the next chapter we will see related topics are taken up. They also reach the goal. The freedom being the common of all. Somebody may be interested in the living with the Lord, the theistic religions. Somebody may be interested in the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the self, God realization. Somebody is interested, or that is the terminology or the attitude or their sampradaya, their path is. Freedom being the common of all these, right? This indeed is the goal of Karma Yoga. So with this 7th chapter, almost the main teachings of the Karma Yoga Swamiji has completed. And the next chapter, chapter 8, the ideal of Karma Yoga, is more or less like a gist. The main ideas are taken up, and there, of course, Swamiji gives new insights and new explanations also, but the main topics are taken up, and then in one short compass, Swamiji summarizes the whole Karma Yoga, right? This we shall see in the next class. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om.